is what I'm going in and what I'm looking at for the week. For the week, obviously the first thing that pops out to me is, well, first of all, I want to say that we have this monthly order block that we've been playing off of. But when we go down to the weekly, what pops off at me immediately is this city right here. So I can see that we have a city right here, and I feel like price is going to want to reach up into this city. I definitely feel that price is going to want to come up into this previous month's high. I know that's where it's going to at least want to get to. And I've noticed that when price comes and takes out buy side sell side liquidity and there's a gap really close in close proximity to it, it's going to reach into those areas. So it's not going to necessarily come to this liquidity and then just drop. It's going to come up, play around this area maybe for a little bit and then drop. So that's why I have a strong feeling that we're going to see price want to reach up into these areas because really we have equal highs up in here. If you really look at that, that's equal highs. And so since we have equal highs, we have buy side liquidity, well, which basically is the equal highs. We'll just count those two together. So we got equal highs and we got a fair value gap. And not only that, but we have a monthly order block that we're playing off of. And if we go to this monthly time frame, and if you study your stuff, if you're doing your due diligences and studying the ICT's concepts and stuff, you know that he talks about how wicks are gaps. And so you take your fib from the low to the high of the bot or to the open, and then that's where you get that 50%, which is the equilibrium, well, consequent encroachment of this gap right here, this wick. And so you can see how price came down to it, paying outside the line a little bit, but ultimately played off of that area in this order block. So we have a lot of momentum up to the upside, I feel like, honestly. So that's where I'm going to be thinking for this week is that we're going to be seeing price want to go up into this weekly fair value gap. And so we are now. This is the daily time frame now. Just because I say I think we're going to go up doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to just. That's what I'm going to be doing Monday is buying. Monday could come in because you gotta also understand that the power of three, where we talk about how the daily candle always leads those wicks before it goes in a direction, it's going to lead those wicks, and that's that manipulation, accumulation, and distribution. That's what that's what those wicks are representing. And so uh, the weekly does that as well. And so if we know the weekly does that, then we can possibly see because we gotta also, and I want to see if y'all really notice this. Try and figure out what it is that I'm looking at right now that I'm seeing in this area. Just looking at this area right here. Looking at this area right here that I have shaded. I'm about to turn to clear. What do you see that is something that could, or I guess let me say it like this: what pops out at you? All right, so what I see is I see this volume imbalance right here. Because a volume imbalance, if I can get it to, all right, a volume imbalance is when the candles, the open of the candles aren't touching each other, but the wicks are. So that's what we call a volume imbalance. Now, if we had the wicks and the candles opens not touching each other, and it's a gap, that's what we will consider liquidity void. That's also considered liquidity void. But in this case, this is a volume imbalance, and then we also have another volume imbalance stacked inside of it. So it's kind of like it's not it's not even, like it's not like exactly right next to each other and lined up with each other, but they're in the same area, close proximity to each other, and so they're overlapping each other. So we could get price push up into here, maybe come down a little bit, and then push up into the fair value gap because we gotta understand that if we're going to go up, it's going to leave some type of wick, even if it's just a little. Very rarely do you see a candle just open and then just go. So there's going to be that pullback. And so if we understand that from a weekly perspective, then we got to understand there may possibly be a down close day. during the week. So we can't we can't just marry the idea, but we can't also just be quick to throw away the idea, because you may get that down close day that may come down into a gap here, this gap or something, and then push, and the next day pushes off of that, because that will be that weekly candle pushing down and then wicking out, and then that's that wick that it leaves, the wick that it leaves. And so that's where you get those days. I actually want to see, actually, like, let me go to replay real quick. Let me see how that plays out on the daily. It might have just been a week on the daily as well. But you see how we have this momentum? Like, you see the week started here. We got the down close day, and we have an up close day. A lot of people would have been thinking, oh, we're going up, we're going up. But what did the last week's candle do? That last week's candle was um, bearish. And so if we go to the daily, what do we see? We got that up close candle. And so you might get those up close candles inside of those weeks where the main move is down, because all price was wanting to really do was what? Get to this fair value gap. That's all price was wanting to do. And it was wanting to get into the consequent encroachment of the of this fair value gap. Which one am I looking for? So it came to the consequent encroachment of that city, and then it played off of that. So why a lot of traders, a lot of retail traders, a lot of traders who aren't aware, would have came into this thinking that this was going to be some type of support. And so price drives price down after manipulating the traders into thinking that we're going up. And so that's that power of three on the weekly time frame that's playing out. Everything's fractal, so everything happens on every chart, on every time frame. And so we have to understand that. So that's what I'm thinking for this week. I'm thinking that I think for the most part, let me get out of this replay. I think for the most part, we're gonna be going up. But I'm not necessarily saying that we're gonna reach this gap this week. It could be next week. It could be the week after that. But I do believe that we will reach up into this high, this last month's high, because if we look at this month's, and we get this out of here, we haven't hit the high or the low for either what am I trying to say? We haven't hit the high or the low for either the high or the the low. So, and if you look at all these candles, the high or the low is getting hit. It's like there's no candle that's not getting its high or its low attacked. And so if we understand that, then we can say that since we come all the way down here to the 50% to the CE of this wick, and then we did this, it's likely that price is going to start to push up. It's not likely that price is going to want to come down again. So, that's why I'm strongly thinking that we're going to get some type of bullish move. There's so many things here that this is the last thing I'll talk about, and I'm done. This is the last thing I'll talk about. But we got this gap here. We take this gap. And so price create this gap here before this move happened. So price, actually, let me do this. So that's all that was there. We had the gap, and then, price came down into it, started to, let me move that, started to fill in, some of the gap, and then it just got disrespected. So the weekly candle closed outside of, the fair value gap. Now peep this. if price was really going to want to go down, because once price closes in and closes outside of fair value gap, it becomes an inverted fair value gap. So this becomes an inverted city. Or yeah, no, actually, this is not a city. This is not a city. This is a BISI because this is going for the buy. So this is what will be this would be a BISI because of the fact that we're going up. It's coming back down and we're tracing to it to think that we're going to push up. So that's a BISI. So it closed below the BISI and it becomes an inversion fair value gap. But how it went back into the gap and closed back outside of it to the upside. So if we were really going to want to go down, it would have came either to here or to here, and then it would have kept pushing down. But look at what it did. It came and it broke back above that fair value gap. So that's something else that I'm kind of looking at where it's like, oh, okay, we came back above. Well, then it might be likely that we're going to want to reach up into these highs over here. We may come down a little bit, so that's something that can happen. The week could come down. There could be a day where the week comes down to this CE, revisit the CE again, and then taps off of this. That will be that wick out, the accumulation, manipulation, and distribution, and that'll be that, you feel me, that wick that will be left from the week, and we'll go and ride into maybe these highs in the fair value gap. So that's the video. Hope y'all enjoyed. That's the pre-analysis that we're going to be working with, and you'll see how like things play out during the week.